In recent years, there's been a revolution in the way popular music is recorded. Several hit records have been made in bedroom studios. Friday night. Big commercial studios have to cater for a wide variety of clients, and time is money. With a home studio, you can focus on your own music without the pay-by-hour restrictions. Although popular indie folk singer Ervin Munir has recorded in big commercial studios, he now prefers to record at home.
The main reason is that when you get creative, you don't want to have to then book a session in a studio somewhere a few days later. By then the creative spark may have gone.
Ervin will now demonstrate the process of recording a song from start to finish.
Welcome to my home studio. In any home studio there are four main components. There's the input, the analog input area, where you've got microphones for maybe acoustic guitars and vocals. There's an audio digital interface. This one has 8 inputs. You have the recording software, which in this case is Logic Pro X, and it's running on an Apple iMac machine. You can also have a MIDI keyboard, which is used to play the virtual instruments stored within Logic Pro. So there are things like grand pianos and harps and violins and cellos. Let me introduce you to my acoustic guitar. This is a Taylor 324CE. I bought it on the way to Norwich months ago. We'll be hearing more of this later. So let me take you through the steps of creating a song. The first thing I'm going to do is to create a drum track. To do this, I will set the tempo of the song. I want this to be 100 beats per minute, and I will set the time signature, and in this case it's 3/4. I create a new track. In this case it's a drummer track. Select drummer from this dialog, click create. It gives me a little bit of a stub of a drum, and I'm going to now extend this for a few minutes. So the software has created this drum track based on the tempo of 100 beats per minute and the time signature of 3/4. It may not be the drum track that I go on and use in the final recording, but it is something to play against and sing against.
Ervin has already set up 4 blank audio tracks in Logic Pro, which you can see above the drum track.
So now I have 5 tracks. I've got a guitar body, which is a microphone that's pointed at the body of the acoustic guitar. There's a guitar pencil, which is focused at the 12th fret of the guitar, and there's my lead vocal track and another audio track. They are now record ready, waiting for me to start. So when I write a song, I eventually get it into this type of format where I have chords and lyrics for the song. I'm now going to put this into the booth so I can follow along. Although you couldn't hear them, I could hear the drums coming through my headphones, so I was playing against the drums. Remember, when we recorded the drum track, it was just a dummy drum track. I may not use it in the final recording. So we have a rough drum track and a rhythm guitar track. Before we move on, I want to talk a little bit about sound treatment of your room. You want a dry sound. So we have these panels that I use to form a little booth. I also have a vocal booth over here. And on all the walls, you'll see here, I have some other sound treatments. These all go to stopping reflections in the room.
Now Ervin's going to add the vocal.
First, I'm going to set the lead vocal track into record mode, ready for me to record. You had to go to Felixstowe.
Now Ervin is going to create a new track in Logic Pro this time for one of the built-in MIDI instruments.
So first of all I create that track and I select a software instrument track. Go up onto the left-hand side here and choose the instrument that I'm interested in using. In this case I'm going to use an acoustic piano and I choose a grand piano. I'm going to record this now and you're going to hear the other instruments while I'm recording and my vocal. You had to go to Felixstowe.
Now Ervin is going to demonstrate mixing his song, concentrating on playback of the drum, guitar and vocal tracks he's already recorded.
Mixing starts with getting the levels right. In order to do this, I brought up the mixer desk on Logic Pro and these 5 tracks that I recorded earlier are now represented on the mixer desk below. Each track has a fader and so I'm able to individually adjust their volumes relative to each other. You had to go to Felixstowe. So to my ear, the guitar is a bit too loud and the vocal is a bit too soft. So I want to reduce the level of the guitar and I want to increase the volume of the vocal. You had to go to Felixstowe. I didn't know. You had to go. You can see that I brought the 2 levels of the guitar down and I've increased the level of the vocal. We also have the option through these pan knobs to place each track in the stereo field where we want it. So for instance I can pan completely to the right to Felixstowe or completely to the left for the lead vocal to Felixstowe. Cool. But in this case I want the lead vocal to be central to Felixstowe. EQ is about levels again, but this time tied to frequencies within the track. So if I bring up the EQ panel for the drums, you'll see that in the lower bassier end I've taken off some of the volume. There's a slight bump around 70 Hertz and there's a couple of little dips and then it's flat for the rest. We've looked at levels and we've looked at EQ and now we're going to look at some effects. So I'm going to apply a reverb effect to the vocal track. Here's my concert hall reverb. So if I now play the vocal track. You had to go to Felixstowe. I didn't know. We've looked at basic mixing and now we're going to look at the finished track. You'll notice there are a lot more instruments up there. See that the levels are all changed. Some tracks have had their panning changed. And my producer Aaron Z. Jones plays electric guitar and he plays bass and he also modified the drums to fit this track. Aaron also mixed and mastered this track for all digital platforms.
You had to go to Felixstowe. I didn't know. Came as a surprise.
When you've recorded and mixed your song, how do you get it distributed to a wider audience?
Actual distribution would take place via organisations such as DistroKid or Ditto Music, and they often require you to pay a yearly fee, but you can release as many songs as you want during the year. They will push those songs out to all the digital platforms for you. So Apple Music, Amazon Music. In fact, I'm only mentioning 2 or 3 during this video, but there are hundreds of them, and they're all over the world as well. Additionally, You can set up your own Bandcamp site. You can sell your songs directly from there to your fans, and you can also sell CDs from there to your fans.
To sail away, and as the rain hit the ground, your ferry left the town of Felixstowe, and my tears came down as your ferry left the town of Felixstowe. You had to go to Felixstowe. I didn't know, came as a surprise. Sadness in your eyes.